All right, now here's a short little class. This shouldn't take more than maybe 10 minutes. And what I want to talk about now is we had talked about I was just looking at your quizzes and the nature of what is public law, what is private law, what is law. We talked at the beginning about the rule of law, and one of the things I asked you in your first quiz is which one do you think is more important? The equality or no arbitrary and prerogative powers? And I got some very interesting answers. Is equality more important? And of course, that doesn't mean we're all equal. We're not. Rich people have more lawyers than poor people, and that's not equal. But we're all equal in the sense that we all get to go to court. And no arbitrary powers means that judges can't just use their feelings and opinions and prejudices to make a judgment. They must rely on a recognized source of law. And so that sort of begs the question, what are laws? So we talked about this in the first week, that a law is, if you remember, it's two things. It's a set of rules that everybody in society agrees to follow. We all agree to follow these rules. And I was thinking about that, and so I put together a little slideshow of some interesting laws. Now, there are some laws on the books in every country, but especially common law countries like America, particularly America, but any common law country has rules that it's very difficult to change. They were made at a time when it was possible to make laws without, I don't know, I guess the politicians it was a different time. And the politicians made laws, and you can't really get rid of laws very easily. It's not like you can just cancel a law or delete a law. You actually need to go through a process in the government where you put out an amendment to the state laws requesting that a law be discarded. And throughout the years, there have been a lot of different politicians who've tried to do this. But the problem is, anytime they try to get rid of some laws, their political opponents always would say, oh, look, David's trying to get rid of the laws. David believes, and it doesn't matter. It's just not worth my time to be attacked as a politician. But here's some fun laws that are still on the books in America. Arkansas. So here's a law in Arkansas. The Arkansas River can rise no higher than to the Main Street Bridge in Little Rock. So the river is being told, you cannot rise higher than this point. In California, it's illegal to drive more than 2,000 sheep down Hollywood Boulevard at one time. I think it's clear to say that this law was made at a time in the past where people were driving flocks of sheep down Hollywood Boulevard, not any time recently. Also in California, you cannot bathe two babies in the same tub at the same time. I'm sure many people break that law all the time, but it probably sounds like maybe something a little bit sad happened, so they made a law, fine. In Florida, here's an important law, I think. If you tie an elephant to a parking meter, you have to pay the same parking fee for the elephant as you would for a car. And I think that makes sense because when you're riding an elephant through Florida, it's, just like a car. So obviously not a law that was made recently, because it would be deeply illegal to ride an elephant through Florida right now, especially at any time that there was a parking meter. So I don't understand when this law was made. That's a pretty good one. I have a couple favorites. This one in Indiana, top three laws ever. The value of pi is 4. That's such a good law. And I love that it's a law. It's not a fact. It's a law. The value of pi is 4 in Indiana. It's not 3.14159. Nope. 4 in Indiana. Kentucky, every citizen is required to take a shower once a year. Sounds like a solid plan. Massachusetts, no gorilla is allowed in the back seat of any car. Also probably a good idea. Nevada, it's illegal for men with mustaches, right? My mustaches, to kiss women. Not sure why, but fair enough. Illinois, I love this law. I think every state should have this law. It's against the law for a monster to enter the limits of the city urbana. That's smart. I really think any state that doesn't have a no monsters rule is kind of just asking for monsters, I think. When the monsters come, they're obviously not going to go to Illinois, because what a pain in the butt. So I am all for no monsters laws, anti-monster legislation. In Oblong, Illinois, it's against the law to make love while hunting or fishing on your wedding day. Not sure, but that's a lot to process in one law. I don't really know what happened, but it sounds pretty specific. Kentucky, good law. By law, anyone who has been drinking is sober until he or she, quote, cannot hold on to the ground. Also, a pretty good standard in Kentucky for what sobriety is. Also in Kentucky, it's illegal to transport an ice cream cone in your pocket. Don't know why, but okay. Also in Kentucky, it's illegal for pigeons, like the little birds, to fly over the city of Bellevue. I don't even know why. Why would you make a law for pigeons? They clearly, Kentucky. North Carolina, it is against the law to sing off key. That means just to sing badly. Oklahoma, it's forbidden to take a bite out of another person's hamburger. Hell yeah, Oklahoma. Hell yeah. You stay away from my hamburger. Utah, it's illegal not to drink milk. This is very funny. Minnesota, it is illegal to pass a cow in Pine Island District without tipping your hat to say hello. That's fantastic. I think they should make that law for most animals. I think when you see a dog, you should have to tip your hat. When you see a bunny rabbit, you should have to give it a thumbs up. Every time you see a cat, maybe you have to make like the whiskers. What's the whiskers thing? Oh, like that. The whiskers sign. Yeah. Wyoming, unless you have an official permit, you may not take a picture of a rabbit from January to April. I assume this was made by the rabbits in Congress that were tired of having their picture taken. New Hampshire, it's illegal to tap your feet, nod your head, or in any way keep time to the music in a tavern, restaurant, or cafe. Oh, that's so boring, New Hampshire. Oklahoma, I like Oklahoma. Dogs must have a permit signed by the mayor in order to congregate in groups of 3 or more on private property. Well done, Oklahoma. Well written. Nice. Dogs must have a permit. Yeah, okay. Tennessee, it's illegal to use a lasso. Lasso is a rope where you try to, like, a cowboy uses this rope and then throws it and tries to catch, like, a cow. You cannot use that rope to catch a fish, which is like, who can do that? I mean, if you could do that, shouldn't you? If you could do that, you could put it on YouTube and get rich, get famous. I mean, nobody can do that anyway. Texas, this is a good rule. Criminals must give their victims 24 hours notice, either orally or in writing, have some flexibility, and tell them the nature of the crime to be committed. So in Texas, if you want to commit a crime, you need to tell the person 24 hours in advance what kind of crime you intend to commit. Smart rule. Vermont, it is illegal to paint a horse. It's not a good idea anyway. So Washington, it is mandatory for a motorist with criminal intentions to stop at the city limits and telephone the chief of police. That's a good one. The chief of police. Washington also, it's illegal to ride an ugly horse. I don't know, how are they supposed to define what ugly is? I mean, that's bizarre.